If there's one thing that can shatter a man's inflated ego, it's realizing that the woman he once idolized like a saint on a pedestal only notices he exists when the whole circus has already gone up in flames, collapsed, and turned into a parking lot. Sound familiar? Bet it does. There you are, all devoted, like a golden retriever in love, texting her, being sweet, bending over backwards to please her. And her, acting like you're optional like a napkin at a fast food joint. She replies when she feels like it, disappears for days, and thinks reciprocation is some weird pill you buy at the pharmacy. But then, one fine day, you get tired of playing the fool. You ghost her, stop running after her, and suddenly, poof, as if by magic, she pops back into your life with a "Hey stranger," or pulls a corny soap opera stunt, like liking an old pic of yours just to poke your sleeping ego. Coincidence? Oh, sure. And the Easter Bunny is totally real, right? Nah, that's something else, buddy. It's called fear of losing. But let's get one thing straight. It's not fear of losing you, oh bright star of the day. It's fear of losing the control she had over your wobbly self-esteem. And that's our topic today. Why do certain women only remember you exist when you walk away? Does that mean they actually love you? Spoiler, no, not really. And more importantly, how do you stop being the clown of this entire show and become the ringmaster? So pay attention, oh sweet delusional prince. After this video, you'll be seeing relationships through the eyes of someone who finally ditched the blindfold of desperation. But before we kick this off, let's be real. This video's only here because someone with a shred of common sense liked and subscribed. Now it's your turn to quit being a freeloader and do the bare minimum, like subscribe and drop a thanks in the comments. Not for me, but for the algorithm. Because that's who really decides whether this message lands in front of other folks who desperately need a reality check. Alright, enough chit-chat. Let's cut to the chase and brace yourself for the truth. Number 1, what's really happening when you pull away? Ever stop to think what's actually going on in a woman's head when you suddenly disappear? Not the little act she puts on, but what she really feels. Because look, while you were there like a well-trained puppy, always available, always texting, always asking about her day, she had zero reason to give a damn. After all, you were a sure thing, a background app she could open whenever she felt like it. But then, you vanish. And what happens first? Nothing. Zip. Crickets. In the first few days, she doesn't even notice you're gone, convinced you'll come crawling back any second. Except time goes by. A day, 2 days, a week. And your name isn't popping up in her notifications. And that's when the magic starts. Her brain goes into high alert. Yes, my friend, women have an emotional radar so sharp, it'd make the CIA jealous. When a guy who used to be around 24/7 suddenly drops off the face of the earth, something inside her lights up like a fire alarm. What's going on? Then come the paranoid questions. Did he lose interest? Did he find someone else? Did he finally realize I didn't give a damn and decide to bail? And the worst part, uncertainty is more torturous than the truth. While you were predictable, you were boring. But now that she doesn't know what to expect, now that you're an unsolved riddle, you become interesting. And you know why? Because the human brain puts a higher price on what's rare. What's guaranteed, predictable, always within reach, fades into the wallpaper. It's there, but nobody notices. But whatever suddenly disappears without warning, that becomes valuable. That's when the withdrawal kicks in. She starts checking her phone more often than usual, gives your profile a little stalk, and if she notices you're living life just fine without giving her a speck of attention, oh man, her anxiety doubles. Now you might be thinking, so does this mean she likes me? Here's the answer you didn't want. Probably not. What's messing with her head isn't the fear of losing you, it's the fear of losing the power she had over you. Which leads us to our next point. Number 2. Why does she only value you when she loses you? Straight up question. If this woman really liked you, Why'd she have to lose you to realize it? The answer's harsh but necessary, because no one appreciates what they're 100% sure they can't lose. And in relationships, that logic is multiplied by 1,000. While you were always available, predictable, and ready to reply in half a second, she never had to lift a finger. You were as guaranteed as the sunrise. Then, you disappear. And suddenly, the equation changes. For the first time, she has no grip on you, and that flips on her internal alarm labeled fear of loss. Now, before you get all starry-eyed thinking this means she's in love, hold up. Fear of losing isn't love. It's just her ego getting smacked, because hey, that guy she assumed was in her back pocket maybe isn't anymore. And you might be wondering, but what if she genuinely figures out she loves me once I pull away? Sure, that can happen. But here's the catch. If it took you vanishing off the radar for her to see your worth, that means while you were front and center, she truly didn't care enough. Because real attraction doesn't need an absence to exist. A woman who truly cares about a man values him while he's there, not just when he vanishes. Know why? Because deep down, women don't fall for absolute certainty. They fall for the thrill, the intrigue. And before anyone claims that's childish game playing, let's clarify something. A man who's a genuine challenge isn't someone who pretends not to care or pulls cheap stunts. He's a guy with options, a man with a life of his own, who doesn't need any single woman's validation, who doesn't beg for attention like a dog waiting for scraps. And when you go off-grid, you force her to wonder, did I really ever have him? That single doubt is enough to flip the way she sees you. Now for the toughest truth. Not every woman who misses you once you've disappeared actually cares about you. Some just want their control back. They couldn't care less about you. They only want to reclaim the attention, the compliments, and that sense of power they had over you. Which brings us to the next point. The 3 types of women who react to your withdrawal. But before we dive in, a quick heads up, champ. Are you tired of being her fancy doormat taking any crumb of attention and still saying thank you on your knees? Time to wake up. No more swallowing disrespect. No more being tossed around like an emotional punching bag. Check the description for a digital book waiting for you. And why? So you can learn how to be a challenge, quit being a walking doormat, and put any woman in her place. No mercy, no nonsense. You'll learn never to bow your head to anyone again, and, as a bonus, find out how to make her respect you, or better yet, how to not give a damn if she doesn't. The world doesn't feel sorry for wimps, my friend. Either learn how the game works, or keep playing the fool. Your call. Number 3. The 3 types of women who react to your withdrawal. Now that you know what happens when you disappear and why some women only value you after you're gone, let's lay all the cards on the table. Because not every woman who pops back into your life is truly in love or truly sorry. Some just want that old sense of control back. Others might actually realize they do love you. And some just move on like you never existed. No more beating around the bush. Let's break down the 3 most common reactions. 1. The one who only misses that ego boost. This is your classic type. While you were around like her emotional doormat, she treated you as a plan B, C, or Z. She never fully let you go, gotta keep that fan club on standby, but she also never showed any real interest. You were like a little flame emoji on her story, a quick ego booster, nothing more. Then you vanish. She feels the sting. Not because she likes you, but because she lost a free source of validation. So what does she do? Shoots you that famous, "Hey, stranger," just to see if you still take the bait. Likes an old photo of yours out of the blue. Randomly shows up in your DMs asking trivial stuff like, "Wow, you disappeared. Everything okay?" Translation, "Can I still toy with your feelings?" And here's the fatal mistake you might make, falling for this nonsense. Because guess what? The second she realizes she still has you under her thumb, she'll lose interest all over again. You're back to square one. 2. The one who discovers she loves you, or misses a perk. This case is rarer, but it happens. Sometimes when a man goes off the radar, a woman realizes she did like him and was being careless. Maybe she took you for granted and only noticed the mistake once you weren't around anymore. But watch out for a twist, because it may not always be genuine love she's missing. Plenty of times what she really loses isn't you, but the benefits you brought along. Think about it. Were you the emotional sponge, always there to solve her issues? Did you pay the bills, give her gifts, fund the fun nights out? Were you a solid catch and she felt a loss of status when you walked away? If the answer's yes, she might not be interested in you, but in what you represent. How to tell the difference? Easy. Don't make it too easy to come back. If it's real love, she'll truly work for it. If it's just about regaining whatever perks you used to provide, she'll bail the second she sees she can't lure you back with a cheap, "Hey, stranger." 3. The one who moves on and what it means for you. And here's the most straightforward scenario. She just doesn't care. You vanish, she moves on. No drama, no games, no stalking your social media, no attempts to reel you back in. And yeah, it hurts the ego. But honestly, it's the best thing that could happen to you. Because if a woman feels absolutely nothing about your absence, it means she never felt anything about your presence either. So, instead of crying over someone who never valued you, be grateful. You just saved yourself from wasting even more time. Your disappearance only sped up a process that would have happened anyway. Now, the big question. Now that you know how to spot who genuinely cares and who's just playing around, you might be wondering, what exactly does she feel when you truly go MIA? That's our next topic. Get ready. Number 4. What she feels when you really disappear. Now that you know about the 3 types of women and how they react, let's jump into what really matters, the emotional side. Because regardless of which category she falls into, there's a mental process she goes through whenever a man genuinely goes off the grid. It happens in 4 stages. 1. Confusion. Is he busy or did he lose interest? For the first few days, she might not do anything. 0 reaction. Because in her mind, you're still that guaranteed guy who's bound to pop back up any minute. She might notice you're gone, but her first thought is, "Meh, he's probably busy. He'll be back." Or worse, she might roll her eyes at your attempted disappearance. "Oh, look at him trying to ignore me. So cute." But the days go by, and you stay gone. Suddenly, she realizes something's off. 2. Anxiety. Why hasn't he reached out yet? Now the emotional radar kicks into high gear. If before you were a sure bet, you're now a question mark. She starts asking herself, did he get tired of me? Did he find someone else? What's going on here? And that anxiety spikes even more when she sees you living your life as usual. You're still posting, going out, having fun, and not even glancing her way. She might pretend she doesn't care, but the urge to check your profile starts creeping in. She peeps your status, your posts, your stories, just out of curiosity, right? Boom, now she's officially unsettled. 3. The need for contact. Gotta test if he's still mine. If the anxiety keeps climbing, she needs confirmation. She needs to test if she still owns you emotionally. How does she do that? Likes an old picture so you'll notice. Watches your story on purpose. Shoots you a random "Hey stranger" text. Shows up where she knows you'll be. But here's the crucial part. If you reply too quickly, game over. She gets her answer, and her anxiety evaporates instantly. Now she knows you're still in her grasp. And guess what? She can go right back to ignoring you without any fear. But if you don't bite. 4. The big shift. Wait, what's happening? I need him back. If you don't take the bait and remain distant, the game flips completely. Now, that woman who treated you like a sure bet starts seeing you as a mystery, something rare, something unpredictable. And at this point, she genuinely starts missing you. But hang on, not all of them reach this stage. If she never had real feelings for you, she might just move on. And if that's the case, awesome. Your vanishing act didn't make her lose you. It just exposed the truth that was always there. She never cared in the first place. Now, the million-dollar question. Knowing this is her emotional journey, how do you dodge her trap when she finally decides she misses you? That's next. Buckle up. Number 5, how not to fall into her trap. So you figured out what happens when you disappear and what she's feeling along the way. Now let's hit the most important part. What do you do when she comes crawling back? Because if you trip over your own feet and come running the instant she calls, congratulations, you just proved you're still under her thumb. What's it gonna be? Will you keep playing the puppet in her theater, or will you flip the script? Here are the 3 golden rules to avoid getting stuck in that endless loop. 1. Never reward a woman who only values you after you're gone. If you disappeared and she reappeared, that means your absence shook her up. But that's no reason to throw confetti and celebrate. On the contrary, this is when you double down on your self-worth. The classic mistake guys make is thinking that just because she's back, it means she's finally realized how special they are. Wrong. A lot of times, all she wants is to check whether she still has you wrapped around her finger. If you come running, you're sending a clear message. Yes, my queen, you still own me emotionally. Keep playing with me. And then boom, the cycle restarts. She reels you in, you pour yourself into her again. She sees she has you locked in place and promptly loses interest once more. So if she comes back, do not hand her your value on a silver platter. 2. Keep your distance and show your worth. If she messages you, don't be that desperate guy who replies within half a millisecond. Act like a clingy puppy and you've already lost. The secret's simple. Stay just distant enough so she realizes you have your own life. That doesn't mean ignoring her forever, but it does mean not giving off the vibe that you were just waiting by the phone. If she's reaching out, great, but now she's the one who has to prove she's genuinely interested in getting you back. If you respond right away, she'll know you're still in her pocket. If you take a little time, answer calmly. Without over-the-top excitement, she starts to wonder if she really does still have you pegged. And that changes everything. It's not about playing cheap mind games. It's about showing that your life goes on, whether she's in the picture or not. 3. Test her level of effort. Wondering if she truly cares or just wants to restore her control. Simple. Make her prove it. If she's really into you, she'll show consistent effort. She'll want to see you, talk to you, be around you, without any shady pressure or games. If she just wants to see if she can hook you again, she'll toss out a little sign and then vanish the second she realizes you're still on the leash. Her words might be sweet, but actions are what count. If she's not really trying, then congratulations. You just confirmed she never valued you in the first place. And now, you can move on like the man who learned his lesson, or go back to playing the jester. Your move. Number 6. The 3 steps to flip the script and truly value yourself. If there's one thing that sets apart a man who's respected from one who's treated as an afterthought, it's how he sees himself. Because, buddy, before you expect a woman to respect you, you have to respect yourself first. Now that you understand why some women only care once you're gone, and how to avoid their traps, it's time to flip the script for good. Here are the 3 pillars to ensure that from now on, you'll never again be the guy who has to vanish to be noticed. 1. Don't be afraid to lose. The biggest mistake a man can make in a relationship is acting out of fear. Fear of pissing her off. Fear of losing her. Fear of being alone. That fear makes you accept crumbs, settle for being plan B, and content yourself with any speck of attention she tosses your way. But here's the truth. Whoever's scared of losing has already lost. Women can spot this fear a mile away. Instinctively, they lose interest in a man who puts himself in that weak position. On the other hand, when you show that life goes on perfectly fine with or without her, you become naturally more attractive. Not because you're playing mind games, but because you genuinely know you don't need her to be happy. That mindset changes everything. 2. Build options and live your life. You know what kills a relationship? Emotional dependence. When a guy invests all his energy, time, and happiness in one woman, he becomes predictable, dull, and low value. How do you change that? Build options. But careful. I'm not just talking about other women. I'm talking about a full life. Have a bigger purpose than chasing someone's approval. Invest in your growth, your career, your health, your well-being. Have friends, hobbies, passions. Be the kind of man who's got such a rich and interesting life that any woman who steps into it will realize she has to work to earn a spot in your world. The secret to respect and attraction is pretty straightforward. If you're not begging for anyone's attention, people automatically see you in a higher light. And when you've got social, professional, or romantic options, you're never again that desperate guy starved for attention. 3. Set your standard for respect and never lower it. And now the final, most crucial point. You must define how you expect to be treated and never settle for less. If a woman only values you once you're gone, she never really valued you in the first place. What you allow is what will continue. If you reinforce her behavior by coming back every time she decides to show a shred of interest, she'll keep doing it. But if you make it clear with your actions, your stance, your decisions, that you won't be someone's plan B, you'll never again have to disappear just to get noticed. And here's the final question. Now that you know all this, what are you gonna do about it? Keep being her emotional plaything? Or finally take the wheel of your own life and become the kind of man who doesn't need to beg for respect? Final message. Value yourself or keep playing the clown. If there's one thing you should hammer into your head after this video, it's this. If she only misses you when you're gone, she never truly valued you to begin with. That's it. No sugarcoating. No, maybe she was confused. The only confusion here is why your self-esteem is still buying into that nonsense. Because, buddy, if someone honestly cares about you, they show it when you're around, not when they realize you might leave. So you've got two choices. Keep playing this lame little soap opera, disappearing, reappearing, playing the "I'll show you by ignoring you" game, crossing your fingers that someday she might wake up and see your worth. But here's a reality check. If you have to prove your value to someone, it's because they never saw you as a priority. And guess what? They never will. Or you can wake up. Decide today that you won't keep chasing someone who can't be bothered to walk alongside you. Become a high-value man who doesn't beg for attention because he knows he'll naturally attract those who genuinely matter. And that choice, my friend, it's 100% yours. So tell me, have you been there? Have you tasted that bitter feeling of only being noticed once you walked away? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your story because there are plenty of guys out there who think they're alone in this. They're not. And if this video gave you that wake-up call you needed, do the bare minimum with dignity. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell. Because after today, you'll never be played for a fool again. And if you are, well, that's on you.